People who write so many facts, like 10-15 facts in each answer, and they still get way below average. And people like me who write just one fact. So last year I wrote 0 facts in the entire paper. So GS 1, 2, 3, 4 I had written 0 facts because I did not know any facts. I wrote 10 pages of facts this time. I wrote 0 and I still got way above average marks last time. Right? So you do not know what the examiner is thinking and what is going to reward. You know yourself more than any other person, right? Can you remember facts? How much do you love history? Or can you even read a newspaper? So a teacher coming there and talking to 100 students won't be able to tell you specifically what you need to do. So that path you have to figure out. But rather than being Appo Deepo Bhave, we just blindly follow the AI-run strategy because we Google their copies, we post their topper slope, and we see what they did because all of us wanna be that person, right? Don't do that. Be your own life. Coming from IIT Delhi, I still found science and technology very hard to do because I knew how systems work, but if Japan has a particular satellite that I did not know, somebody had to teach you that very systematically, and I found their courses very, very good. Okay, what not to study? I think this is more important than the part of what to study. I told you what to study, कुछ नहीं, सिर्फ PYQ लिख लो हो जाता है ना? अभी क्या नहीं पढ़ना है? And then you are reading one newspaper which is pro-government and one which is against government, and then you are taking a balanced view. नहीं करना है. So it is simple in this manner that it demands something from you. You have to find out what this demands from you, and you just do that, and that, and you'll clear. It is not easy because each of those things, finding out which stories to write in essay, how to generate those body points, is not going to be easy. You'll have to use your mind.
So let's welcome Tarun Kumar sir here with us. So a very good morning to all of you. Today we have All India rank 49 Tarun Kumar Yadav with us. In 2024, he has cleared this exam. He got All India rank 203 and उनको IPS मिला था और इस साल he has secured All India rank 49. He graduated in 2020 from IIT Delhi, a computer science BTech student who also dreamt just like you all कि UPSC करना है and UPSC clear करना है. And today he's here with us with his story, with his struggles, with his strategy. And I believe आप सब भी यहाँ से कुछ ना कुछ जरूर लेके जाएंगे because the way he has prepared, he has done self-study along with, of course, some help from he was a current affairs student of Santosh sir and Nikhil sir, student of ancient medieval art and culture module also. So other than that, he has done everything on his own. So जब कभी भी आपको भी लगता है सेल्फ डाउट होता है आई डोंट हैव द स्ट्रैटेजी आई डोंट नो हाउ टू प्रिपेयर हाउ कैन वन प्रिपेयर खुद से कैसे इस एग्जाम के लिए प्रिपेयर कर सकते हैं तो वी हैव द लाइव एग्जाम्पल इन फ्रंट ऑफ अस मेक द मोस्ट आउट ऑफ द सेशन जो भी आपको अपने क्वेरीज हो डाउट्स हो एनी काइंड ऑफ पर्सनल क्वेरीज दैट यू हैव रिगार्डिंग योर प्रिपरेशन यू कैन आस्क हिम I am just handing over the mic to Tarun Kumar, sir.
Hi. I think the introduction has been done. So I have made some slides. Present those slides. Ready here. I have to use the button. ठीक है, तो I will stand this way. ठीक है. I am a BTech graduate in computer science from IIT Delhi. I graduated in 2020. I was a software engineer for over 4 years. Thereafter, I prepared for this exam. I got 203 rank last time and 49 this time. Okay, cautionary note before every topper's talk. Ki everyone will tell you their own path, but each person will have a unique path, and you are the person who has to find that path. So हरिवंश राय बच्चन जी वन सेड कि मदिरालय जाने को घर से निकला है पीने वाला, यू आर द पीने वाला. तो किस पथ से जाऊं असमंजस में भोला बाला, सब पथ अलग बतलाते हैं पर मैं यह बतलाता हूँ कि राह पकड़ तू एक चला चल पा जाएगा मधुशाला. So what this says is कि do not rely too much on teachers or toppers. Very against, well, I'm standing in an institution and saying this, but you'll see the gist of my talk will be that you know yourself more than any other person, right? Can you remember facts? How much do you love history? Or can you even read a newspaper? So a teacher coming there and talking to 100 students won't be able to tell you specifically what you need to do. So that path you have to figure out. So you need to have that self confidence that whatever path I take according to me will let me to the final destination. Okay, nothing specific to Harivansh Rai Bachchan ji. Our Bhagavad Gita has also said the same, or Buddha also said the same. But rather than being Appo Deepo Bhave, we just blindly follow the AI one strategy because we Google their copies, we post their topper stop, and we see what they did because all of us wanna be that person, right? Don't do that. Be your own light. Okay. Uh, I'm not going to details into कि किस में क्या पढ़ना है, ठीक है, which book list to follow, एनसीईआरटी किस किस की कितनी पढ़नी है, एंड देन लक्ष्मीकांत के कौन कौन से चैप्टर पढ़ने हैं, बिकॉज दैट यू ऑल नो, योर टीचर्स विल टेल यू, राइट, दैट इज नोन टू ऑल ना. तो आई डिड दिस very very simple, one book for polity, one notes for economy, just the NCERTs for geography. I watched ancient and medieval culture, Nikhil sir's lectures, because I found the facts very dry in the NCERTs or even the Tamil Nadu book. I found that insufficient. So I had to follow sir's course, spectrum for the modern history. I did IR, governance, disaster management, internal security, and society just using PYQs, no lectures at all. This is something that I'll cover later on. Can we even do that without even watching anyone's lectures? For ethics, I think any of the course in the market is sufficient, anyone's. Just do a booster course and then follow again PYQs that I'll focus very much on. For all these subjects, I found no other better source than Santosh sir. Uh, Science and technology, environment mapping, current affairs. Uh, because this isn't going anywhere. So I was very cynical about which courses to take. I did most of my preparation offline, alone at home, without any peer group, right? And I was from engineering background, so no knowledge of GS. Uh, Still, and coming from IIT Delhi, I still found science and technology very hard to do because I knew how systems work. But if Japan has a particular satellite that I did not know, somebody had to teach you that very systematically. And I found their courses very, very good. So these are the things that everyone asks me. I recommend them just do Santosha's course and forget about it because they're going to cover it for you. They have been analyzing PYQs for very long and they know exactly what is asked. So trust them on it. Standard sources are enough. And nothing to add else, just some memes I put so that you don't get bored. Okay. So the general course of study for me and for everyone else would look like something like this: that you would start any this preparation with some knowledge or without any background. So because I did not have any background, I had to study some basic books, which are essentially NCRTs. So I read them like a story, like any other person. After that, I picked up one book or one course for each subject. This is not so simplistic. I picked up many courses and many books on the go, but after 2 3 pages I knew that I'm not going to cover this and this isn't going to add any value to what I've already studied. So the final model that I settled on is ki take any book or any course and just completely rely on it, make very short notes out of it after, on the second revision. So because in the first go you wouldn't know ki what to study, what not to study, so just study almost everything as in what is being told. You can use PYQs as your guide, but if you haven't done the complete syllabus you wouldn't know what to skip. Only when you are thorough with the syllabus you would know exactly कि कौन सा पार्ट करना है और कौन सा छोड़ने का है. So you can use PYQs as a guide in the first iteration, but slightly hard to. Then I had very hard time memorizing anything. So just to remember the fundamental rights, I think it took me 2 weeks or something. And to remember कौन से citizens के लिए and कौन से सबके लिए हैं, ये तो मैं I would remember first day and forget on the second day. Then I remember on the third day, and it took me months to remember this. Just the fundamental rights and which are for which. So the only thing that worked for me was actively recalling. So what I did was I would study something in the morning, and in the afternoon or in the evening, I would take a blank page, white blank page, and I would try to write out everything that was important for the exam. Huh? If I was able to write down everything, well and good. If I wasn't, I would go back to my notes over the book and I would see what I had missed and I would write that down again. The next morning, I would do the same thing. By the second or third iteration, I would have remembered most of the things, right? And इससे बहुत short notes भी बन जाते हैं because you would only write the necessary things, right? So on the third day, you would only have the things that you need to remember later on. So a week later, you can just pick it up and revise very easily. The same work for other things like national parks. There are so many of them, and कौन सा कहाँ पे है, कौन से में कौन सी species मिलती है, very hard to remember. So I would take a blank map every day. I would try to draw all the national parks. कुछ बनेंगे शुरू में तो 2-3 बनेंगे फिर नहीं बनेंगे. By 6-7 day you would be able to draw all of the national parks on the map. फिर add the species or any other particular thing that you want to add कि कौन सी नदी वहाँ से गुजरती है. This way, then you would have a map that would have all the relevant information. So on the 11th day, try to repeat it. On the 12th day, by 15th day, you would have remembered all of the national parks. The only thing that helped me memorize. Otherwise, I would just passively glimpse at my notes, but after I had put down my notes, I wouldn't remember anything. So actively recalling was the one that helped me remember things. Make notes in your second reading if you wanna make. Um, Then, when coming to PYQs, so once you're done with first and second iteration of your subjects, that is when you have to get started with your answer writing. So what I did was I took ethics ke quotes, na, because they were the most interesting. So I would take a quote and I would ponder over it. I'll think over it for 10-15 minutes कि मैं क्या लिख सकता हूँ उसमें. This developed my interest in answer writing. So I would just sit there, think of the body points that I will be able to write. And then I went on to further subjects. बाकी सब में I wouldn't think about the intro or the conclusion, only the body points. Because we have to write multi-dimensions. You need a thinking process. कि कोई सवाल आएगा तो उसमें how can I generate more dimension? I'll speak more on this later. Then once you are like 3 months, March, April sort of phase, you start preparing just for the prelims and then just read everything that you had written over there, the only book or the course you have taken. Just read it 2-3 times, actively keep actively recalling, and then do something that we'll talk later on ki prelims, how to pass that. And after the prelims is over, of course, it is all about extensive answer writing and how to improve whatever answers you have written. We'll also talk about that. Okay. Some facts about prelims. Uh, the material can be huge, like huge. If you don't know what to study, you'll just keep on studying. I think there are daily newspaper compilations, there are weekly, there are monthly, and there's so many books on each subject. So it can be very much. You have to navigate through that maze. So what exactly to study? So the second factor is your memory, and your time and energy are very much limited. I did my preparation almost throughout with the job. So I was working in the day. So I had hardly like 4, 5, 6 hours to study. Right? So usme I had to complete the entire syllabus and I was able to. And not all facts are equally important. We'll see how to recognize this and which ones to focus more on. So these are the hard facts. This is the wisdom you'll get after working out of GS1. Okay, now how to study for the prelims, right? How to categorize कि किसको करना है किसको नहीं करना है. The core idea is I belong to mathematical background sort of. So in everything I think of return on investment. कि if I'm going to study a particular book or a particular chapter, how much value is it going to add to my preparation, right? The return on investment. So I think prelims is all a game of just keep on guessing the return on investment on whatever you read and guessing smartly, right? Personally, I think I was able to do like 20-25 questions using my knowledge. Uh, The rest 20-25 questions, I had to cover using smart guessing. So you have limited time, vast labor. So if you spend say 10 hours on polity, a particular topic that comes every year, you're gonna get multiple questions out of that. And you're just chasing random reports that come after year. You'll hardly get any questions from that report, right? So you have to see that. So, for example, we know national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, or the world mapping, they're asked every year. World mapping, now they're asking like what, 5-6 questions a year. So, if you devote even a day to world mapping, you'll be able to answer 2 questions in the prelims examination compared to, say, very specific art and culture niche questions. Uh, They are so niche that you would have to study from some random book, and then maybe you will be able to do the question. So we have to identify which topics belong to this category and which topics belong to this category. Everything is written there, but if you keep on studying everything with equal importance, you'll go keep on going back to every book, and you still wouldn't remember because we have a limited memory, right? Okay. So we can divide every fact or every concept into these three categories. A are the ones that we should understand and we should memorize. B are the ones that we should read carefully. It is not necessary that we memorize them. The C ones are that we just ignore. We should learn to recognize which topics belong to category A, B, or C. Right? That is all prelims is. But we do this. Okay. So category A are the ones that will provide you very high return on investment. They might be tedious to do, right? But because they're gonna provide very high return on investment, you have to do them. C are the ones that have very low return on investment and they are going to take a lot of time, right? But we do this whole unconsciously. Some of the examples of categories are A, Jainism and Buddhism. Each year there's gonna be a question, right? National parks, environmental acts. Each year there's gonna be a question. Part B that we should read carefully are say species that are asked year after year. But of course we have a limited memory. We cannot remember all the species. So we'll remember what say 15, 20, 30 of them with their behavior as Santosha teaches. For rest of them, we are just gonna be glancing through them, right? And when you're reading such notes and then actively recalling and writing the name of those species, you'll remember that which particular species fall in which category, at least. Right? So when a question comes in examination, I think there was one question this year that could be done with just knowing that which particular whatever kingdom that particular thing belonged, right? So we are the one that you just read through them like a story. You do not necessarily memorize everything about that particular topic, but you'll still be able to use smart guessing if you know a particular fact about that. See our obscure reports and very specific art and culture topics. There are, of course, many more topics here. That is something that you need to figure out. Okay. Smart guessing is all about using whatever knowledge you have from topic of categories A and B and using them to eliminate the options, right? And recognize that if you are able to eliminate two of the options, the expected score, that is if you randomly take either of the options, the expected score is, if say you did this for all the 100 questions, you would get a net positive score, not a net negative score, because of the two it is completely random for you. So the expected value is with what probability. So with half probability you'll get 2 marks, and with half probability you'll get -2/3 marks. So the net value that comes out is positive. So smart guessing is about using your core knowledge. ठीक I'll come this. This is the phase we all go through, right? And we all go to Telegram channels to find out कि uh, अगर science and tech में ऐसा आता है, if there are 3 facts, at least one of them is bound to be wrong, so just cross that option, and many other such tactics. I think UPSC is good when enough smart कि अभी वो strategies work ना करे. So this is something that you have to Keep in mind. Very hard in exam. ठीक है, this is what we will talk now. कि okay. So once you have done your study, you have categorized your topics into A, B, and C. You have very much memorized the topics in A. You have glanced through topics in B. You have understand their stories, right? And you have skipped C wala completely. You'll come to test series. So somebody asked me about the previous time कि if I've done some preparation, I go to a test series, then should I come back and revise based on the feedback that I get from the test series? And I told that, see, study is systematic, right? You go through everything in detail. Tests are heuristic. Heuristic is you take a few samples from that and you see if you remember them or not. So heuristic is a way to test systematic study, but not necessarily correct, right? Statistically correct. So test series should be used to test whether you have understood and memorized everything, and not the reverse, as in you do everything and then you go to the test series, not the other way around. That you remember something, you go to the test series, get the feedback ki which topic should I remember now, and then go back. Okay. Second point is, in my opinion, test series from coaching institutes just cannot emulate a real UPSC examination, because the people who make the test series are very much biased of what they teach into the classroom. So they are gonna be asking you questions that they have taught in the classroom, not the questions that a professor from JNU or DU will have in their mind. So I think, in my opinion, it is much more beneficial to give full PYQ test. So pick up a paper from 2018, 19, 20. It does not matter whether you already know 20 questions because somebody has taught you in the classroom. Still, the feel of giving a full paper in 2 hours and doing all those 100 questions and struggling through that will give you much more output than doing a random test series paper. And I think you should also do all the PYQs then topic wise. So if you're doing environment and then environment acts, and there are 25 questions that have been asked so far. In doing those 25 questions, you will recognize which themes are more important. So the conventions that happened last year are more important, or the ones that are landmark, that are quoted again and again. This is something, this meta knowledge you'll only get when you've done the PYQs topic wise. So last year when I did my preparation, I did do some test series, and I took the ones that make the hardest, because now this is when you feel ki, oh, I do not know so much, I need to study again. So I gave one test series, I got what, 30 or 40 marks or something. So I did that test series का second paper and I again got 40 marks. तो I was like कि बहुत पढ़ने का, ये लोग बहुत अच्छा पेपर बनाते हैं. नहीं. So this time I did not give any test, like zero tests, zero prelims test, and it worked for me because मैंने ये बहुत अच्छे से किया था. I knew the feel of doing the complete paper, and I had done the topics. I had done the questions topic wise, so I knew exactly कि किस topic से किस type के question पूछे जाते हैं. One example is medieval history से one question is asked or two questions are asked, and in my opinion they are hard, the मुश्किल, you study so much and फिर उसमें से कुछ random fact पूछ के आता है. So I just did not study medieval history at all. Worked for me. Find your own path, but this is something that you get after doing everything in full and in topic wise. So find what works for you. I cannot tell you anything about CSET because I had maths optional, so it was very easy for me. So we'll skip that. Okay. We'll now come to essay part. Okay. So in both of my attempts, I got well above average marks in essay. And the reason is that I did essay in a very, very systematic manner, as in very systematic manner. And I did this completely by myself. So I do not know what goes in the coaching industry. I can only tell you what I did. So step number one, I took all the essays that have been asked in 2018 or 19 because this is when they transition completely to philosophical topics. Uh, I took all those topics and I asked ChatGPT to categorize them. Right? So it told me that these are the particular categories. These are women specific issues. These are related to environment. These are related to leadership, and then something related to happiness, joy, etc. These were the broad categories. Then I went to ChatGPT or Gemini or any other AI that you use, and I put up those particular categories, and I asked it to find many stories from Indian mythology, from Sufi stories, from Christianity, every religion, and every other possible story, and it would tell me what the story is, and it would tell me where it would possibly fit in. This is a story I very oftenly use. It is about Nasruddin and the lost key, where a person is trying to look up for a key, and he lost the key inside his house, but he's searching it outside under the street lamp because there the lighting is very good. Somebody asks him, comes and asks, "Ki, why are you searching for the key here?" And says, "Ki, because the lighting is good." This is something that very frequently can be used in topics like happiness. Ki, why are you searching for it outside when you lost it inside? Something like that. So I had a compilation of 15, 20 stories such. I would use those stories and only those stories for the introductions and the conclusions. And I knew ki which story will fit in which topic. Right? And I also asked ki once I write down the story, how to very smoothly merge it with the topic, because that is very much necessary. You write a story, you just cannot jump on the body points. You need a very smooth transition. So I'd write a story and then I'll ask ChatGPT, how do I transition from the story to the essay? It told me that. So I use all that. So I would write a story, I'll very smoothly transition to the essay body, and then I'll tell you what I did write in the body. So this was my introduction and the conclusion. I had then pre-prepared for everything. And because we get a choice in essay, easily be able to find one essay that fits into this framework, right? And that is all you need. Oh, we'll come to this later. Okay. For the essay body points, I did not rely at all on what usually people do is that GS knowledge. We write all the social, economic, political dimension because we write that in the GS papers. In my opinion, that is very boring, and the examiner is already frustrated with all the essays that previous people have written. He just wants to get done with it. So I gave him something new to look at. What I would write is some evolutionary principle. Example, our ancestors who tried to look for more safety, better social groups, they survived, and our ancestors who were just lazy just did not survive because the environment was so hostile. So this has evolutionarily made us people who seek more safety, more resources. So this is a view why we are unhappy usually, because we are seeking more, and that is built into us evolutionarily. Similarly, we have this fight or flight response to everything. Humans cannot do anything for a very sustained period which does not provide them something to live for. Example, you cannot go through college 4 years with systematic studying because that is not how we are built. Right? Our ancestors would fight a mammoth, kill it, and then would sleep for 2 days because they were well fed. So this is how we are built. We would work very hard on something. Like you'll go after listening to me, you'll study for 2 days very hard, and then you'll just give up. This is how we are built. So I use these points. Then biological perspective, what a hedonic treadmill is, or when you do exercises, there are tears in your muscles, and then when they build back, you are built back stronger than what you were earlier. So this is something that I use in resilience. So in a resilience story, I'll tell a biological perspective. This is something that when examiner will look at, he'll like, oh, this is something new I haven't read in earlier copies. I'll also incorporate some psychological research from a very famous researcher, Daniel Kahneman, who has this book, Thinking Fast and Slow. So his principles like loss aversion, breaking point, some mathematical theories and miscellaneous. Right? Where did I get all this from? I'm no genius. I haven't studied everything. this. I went to ChatGPT. I gave again all the topics to him, and I asked, give me certain theories from biology and everything else that I can reuse across these points. So all I had were 10, 15 such theories. That's it. I use these 10, 15 theories in all the essays that I wrote. This is all the content that I had for the essay. I did not think originally. Earlier I used to, but then I found out that it doesn't work. The time is limited and you cannot think originally in every essay. And if something goes wrong, it will go wrong very bad. So rather do it very systematically. Find a certain set of theories that are interesting, that you can relate to, and use them to write the essay's body points. So pick up anything, something say loss aversion, that if somebody gives you 500 rupees, you'll just keep it in your pocket. But if somebody takes 500 rupees away from you, you will think about it for a day. Right? So we tend to be loss averse, we humans. So I will use this theory and I'll write one page over this. I'll use some other theory. I'll use or write one more page over this. So I collected all these theories from ChatGPT. So I had these theories that I would reuse in every essay. So this is one of my scribbling for essay that I was going to write. There's no path to happiness. Happiness is the path. And all you are gonna find is something related to concept of time, capitalism, one purchase away, how anything that is measured stops us giving joy or anything. Nothing of in here is social or economic or political. Everything here is related to some theory that I have described. Yes. This is a completely philosophical essay written in philosophical style. There's nothing concrete about this. And it is easy to do if you have these theories. So the gist is you do not necessarily need to use the GS knowledge, and people will have so much more GS knowledge than you that if they come to writing about it, they'll write 100 pages on everything. They know so much. I did not know so much. I had to find out my own path. If you wanna find out these topics and you wanna get interested about these, this author Yuval Noah Harari has very good talks on YouTube, 30, 35 minutes. If you watch any of his talks, you'll get certain ideas. And then I'll come to the use of AI because I was a software engineer. I extensively used AI. So half of my preparation was with AI. I still do not know the difference between these two terms. This is something that you do not need to know. Have you seen this office? I've seen it 5 times. Okay. Again, PYQs. So if you're preparing alone, or if somebody is teaching you, how do you know that they're teaching you correct? And if you're studying alone, how do you know you are going on the right path? There's only one way, that is PYQs, because this is what have been asked. This is what the examiner thinks like. So for the mains, all my preparation very concisely is I wrote all the PYQs. That's it. Nothing else. I did not make any notes. I did not read any coaching's notes. All I did was I wrote all the PYQs. And what I had learned of it, I wrote it in the exam. That's it. So simple. You go topic wise, you pick up, say, polity, particular, say, union legislature. 15 questions have been asked so far. For the first question, you do some thinking. Now, you take 10, 15 minutes to think about what different points can you write about a particular union legislature question. Once you have devoted those 10, 15 minutes, you would have 10, 15 points, right? In the next question, see if you can reuse those 10, 15 points. If not, it is a new question. You again think. By the third or the fourth question, you would have 15, 20 points to write for every question, any question that comes from this particular topic. And this is what you have to reuse, because in the examination, you have to write very, very fast. You cannot think for very long. So if any question comes, you have to categorize which particular topic it belongs to. You should have ready-made 5, 7 points that you are gonna write in that question. So if you've done this exercise, you will have a meta knowledge of what particular points you are going to write in any topic. Be it governance. If you write 5, 7 questions from governance, you would know what exactly to write if any question comes from IT topic of governance, right? Now, once you have written that answer, you do not know whether it is a good answer or not. So, because I did not have anyone else to give me feedback, I used AI to get feedback. So I used Perplexity for this. No? Uh, you can use any of the AI. They all are equally good. They are much more smarter than what UPSC demands. They are equal to PhDs. So this is very easy for them. So get any AI and use it to get a model answer. It will give you many, many points. Yeah. Now you see which points have you missed and if they are actually important. If they are important, just write them down. So, and it will also give you certain data facts. No. So if you find that these facts are important, just use them. Do not overdo on this. So say for the food processing industry, you have written 5 questions. You know these 4 facts I can use in any question. So I only remember those 4 facts. After this complete exercise was done, I had written all the PYQs. I had about 10 pages worth of facts. That is all I had. So those 10 particular pages of facts, I saw one day before the exam and I wrote those particular facts in the exam. But the points, because I had written 700 questions earlier, I knew how to write a question. Right? If any question come after 700 questions, you will be able to write a decent answer, multidimensional point. So use AI and then do all this with PYQs. Some subjects I did completely only using PYQs. I did not study IR from anyone because whenever I would go to any teacher, they would have a 50 lecture series on IR in which they will go on exact row के operation कर रहे हैं जो वहाँ पे and तो पूछा ही नहीं जाता तो why should I study them? Return on investment is nothing. So I will open the PYQ. I'll see कि पूछा क्या जा रहा है. अच्छा इंडिया श्रीलंका के रिलेशनशिप पूछे जा रहे हैं किस टाइप का क्वेश्चन पूछा जा रहा है. I'll see कि क्या पूछा जाता है and I'll explain a very simple question कि कैसे सोचना है उस बारे में. तो I did all these 5, 7 subjects just using the PYQs and they suffice for me. You do some minor extra effort and that extra effort is use Topaz notebook. Once you are done with 300-400 questions, you'll have a fair idea of what to write. Now, the thing is you have to converge to Topaz style in the GS 1, 2, 3, at least GS 1, 2, 3, because these are the subjects in which you just do not know how many marks you'll get. Some I've seen people who write so many facts, like 10, 15 facts in each answer, and they still get way below average. And people like me who write just one fact. The last year I wrote 0 facts in the entire paper. So GS 1, 2, 3, 4, I had written 0 facts because I did not know any facts. I wrote 10 pages of facts this time. I wrote 0 and I still got way above average marks last time. Right? So you do not know what the examiner is thinking and what is going to reward. So you need to converge to Topaz style in a few GS 1, 2, 3. So whatever is missing or whatever is different from the Topaz, you just go and see their copies and figure out what works for you and use their strategy. वो diagram बना रहे हैं किसी particular topic में to fill the page. If it suits you, do make a diagram. It is easy to make and it takes space. So same point. Discuss a very simple key. Why did the Mughal dynasty decline? I never studied modern history also. ना तो आई वंस स्टडीड स्पेक्ट्रम और स्पेक्ट्रम पढ़ के उसमें इतने सारे फैक्ट्स थे कि आई थॉट कि वापस तो पढ़ा नहीं जाएगा तो आई मेड वेरी शॉर्ट नोट्स आउट ऑफ इट 20-30 पेजेस. तो मैं ये पढ़ना भूल गया. तो फिर अभी आंसर तो लिखना है अगर आ जाएगा एग्जाम में तो कैसे लिखना है. अगर मैं सोचने लगूं आई विल जस्ट गो ब्लैंक इफ आई जस्ट थिंक अबाउट इट कि क्या पर्टिकुलर मेजर रीजन रहा होगा उसके डिक्लाइन होने का. इफ आई स्टार्ट फोकसिंग कि सबसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट क्या है वो सोचता हूँ फिर बाकी सब सोचूंगा तो आई विल गो ब्लैंक. उसके बजाय थिंक सिस्टमेटिकली कि उस टाइम पे चल क्या रहा था. अच्छा यूरोपियंस थे वहां पे तो कुछ एक्सटर्नल फैक्टर रहेंगे कुछ यूरोपियंस ने कंट्रीब्यूट किया होगा. तो यूरोपियंस क्या कंट्रीब्यूट कर सकते हैं टू द डिक्लाइन ऑफ मुगल्स. तो फिर थिंक कि उनके पास क्या होगा. यूरोपियंस के पास उनके पास मिलिट्री होगी उनके पास आर्म्स होंगे वो ट्रेडिंग करते थे तो कुछ नेवल ट्रेड वगैरह होगा. उसके अलावा वो उनके इंटरनल अफेयर्स में भी वैसे कुछ करते रहते थे. तो 4 पॉइंट तो बन गए इसी से जस्ट यूजिंग द यूरोपियंस. सी के अच्छा यूरोपियन से आके अब अंदर की तरफ आते हैं कि उनके चल क्या रहा था. जैसा राजा होता था प्रजा होती थी. प्रजा को कुछ दिक्कत हो गई होगी, क्या हो गई होगी कि प्रजा के पास क्या होता था, रिलीजन होता था और टैक्सेस होते थे, दो तीन चीज़ों के थ्रू ही तो वो राजा से वो करते थे, इंटरफेस करते थे। अच्छा, उन्होंने जीजिया लगा दिया, टेम्पल्स थे डिस्ट्रॉय कर दिए, और ऑर्थोडॉक्सी बढ़ने लगी। तो यूजिंग द सोशल फैक्टर यू कैन राइट दीज 3 पॉइंट्स। इकोनॉमिक कोजेस, दूसरा इंटरफेस की टैक्सेशन वगैरह, तो उसके रिलेटेड क्या रहा होगा। अच्छा, दे हैड ए मनसबदारी सिस्टम, तो उसमें कुछ फेलियर रहा होगा। उसके अलावा अच्छा कुछ मिसलेनियस की, अच्छा इकोनॉमी आता है कि वो कुछ साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी में इन्वेस्ट नहीं करते थे, यूरोपियंस डिड इन्वेस्ट। इनइक्वालिटी थी, मास पॉवर्टी थी, लो स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग था, ऐसे ऐसे करके। तो इफ यू थिंक इन दिस मैनर, एंड देन पॉलिटिकल कोजेस कि उनके खुद के आपस में क्या रीजन रहे होंगे। अच्छा, वो सारी पावर खुद लेना चाह रहे होंगे। ओके, सम रीजनल सेंटर्स माइट हैव डेवलप्ड जो कि पावर उनसे ग्रैब करना चाह रहे होंगे। तो इफ यू थिंक अबाउट दिस क्वेश्चन, दिस नथिंग दैट जो मैंने एक बार स्टोरी ना पढ़ी हो, इफ आई हैड स्टडीड द चैप्टर जस्ट वंस, आई नो कि कुछ कुछ चल रहा था वहां पे, तो दैट कुछ कुछ कैन इजीली बी रिमेम्बर्ड इफ यू गो सिस्टमेटिकली। ऑन द अदर हैंड, इफ यू ट्राई टू मेमोराइज एवरीथिंग, इट बिकम्स वेरी हार्ड, राइट? तो दिस इज द जिस्ट ऑफ माई आंसर राइटिंग। आई सी ईच क्वेश्चन, आई सी कि मैं इसको किस किस पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक में ब्रेक डाउन कर सकता हूँ, किस किस पर्टिकुलर एंगल में ब्रेक डाउन कर सकता हूँ। आई थिंक वेरी लाइक अ वेरी जनरलिस्टिक पर्सन कि अच्छा ये टॉपिक रहा है, तो इससे रिलेटेड क्या क्या चीज़ें होती होंगी, एंड दे बिकेम माई पॉइंट्स। तो जब मैं उनको 4 चीज़ों में बोर्ड तोड़ लूंगा और हर टॉपिक के मुझे 4 जनरलिस्टिक वो आ जाएंगे, तो राइट अ 1 लाइन ऑन ईच, तो मेरे पास बहुत सारे पॉइंट्स हो जाएंगे। एंड आपको अगर फैक्ट्स आते हैं तो उसमें एग्जाम्पल में फैक्ट्स लिख देंगे, तो इट बिकम्स वेरी सिंपल इफ यू डू इट दिस वे, रादर देन यू मेमोराइज एवरीथिंग एंड देन यू गो टू पीवाईक्यू एंड ट्राई टू सी कि अच्छा मैंने जो मेमोराइज किया था वो मैं यहाँ पे कैसे लिख सकता हूँ। इफ यू डू दैट अप्रोच कि पहले याद करोगे फिर आओगे कि मैं इसमें क्या लिख सकता हूँ, तो यू माइट हैव मेमोराइज मेनी मोर थिंग्स, पर वो सब लिखा नहीं जाएगा। दे माइट नॉट बी एग्जैक्टली एड्रेसिंग जो क्वेश्चन पूछ क्या रहा है। तो गो द रिवर्स वे, ये देखो कि क्वेश्चन पूछते क्या है ना, उसकी डिमांड क्या होती है, उसको चाहिए क्या होता है, एंड देन सी कि अच्छा जो मैंने पढ़ा था उसमें से यूज क्या हो सकता है। और उससे पढ़ भी लो, अगर कुछ पढ़ा नहीं है जैसे आईआर, सोसाइटी, इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी, तो वो वहां से देख सकते हैं। तो व्हेन आई टेल दिस कि व्हेन आई टेल दिस कि इट वाज दिस इजी फॉर मी कि आई डिड ऑल द पीवाईक्यूज, एंड फिर मैंने बहुत सारे 10 पेज के फैक्ट याद कर लिए, एंड आई रोट जस्ट दोज जो पॉइंट्स मुझे वहां से ध्यान आए और द फैक्ट्स, और उससे निकल गया। तो पीपल से टू मी कि, और बी लिटलिंग द एग्जाम, कि ये तो बहुत मुश्किल है, इतने सारे लोग प्रिपेयर कर रहे हैं। तो आई से कि आई एम नॉट बी लिटलिंग, आई एम डिस्क्राइबिंग कि इफ यू फॉलो दिस स्ट्रेटेजी इट इज सिंपल। देयर इज अ डिफरेंस बिटवीन सिंपल एंड इजी। Easy is something कि I go from here to there. It's easy. It just doesn't take any effort. Simple is कि if you do this and this, you will reach a certain conclusion. So it is simple in this manner that it demands something from you. You have to find out what this demands from you, and you just do and that, and you'll clear. It is not easy because each of those things, finding out which stories to write in essay, how to generate those body points, is not going to be easy. You'll have to use your mind. You'll have to go to the book, see which points are the ones that are most relevant, which examples to remember in the ancient and medieval. Just say I never remembered any temple, but I had to take extra effort to remember the name of the temples, right? Because if a question comes, ki, what did the medieval time temples reflect of the social or the economy? So I had to remember at least a few temples. So in that way, this exam is not easy. It is simple. Hmm. See, again, I had a mathematical background, so every few days I'll get a doubt कि मेरा क्यों होगा, बाकी का क्यों नहीं होगा. तो I'll make some graph like this. I used, मेरे को आता था तो coding, तो I would use some coding, but अभी तो AI भी बना देता है, तो it give me some relief, है ना? कैसे? कैट सी कि अच्छा GS3 मेरे को तो कुछ नहीं आता साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी में, आई कैन हार्डली राइट एनी आंसर ऑन एनवायरनमेंट, और कुछ रैंडम कन्वेंशन पे पूछ लिया तो आई नो 1 लाइन और 2, पूरा आंसर तो कैसे लिखाऊंगा. देन आई सी कि अच्छा जो टॉपर है और यहाँ का जो लास्ट में 25 परसेंटाइल वाला गाय है वो बराबर है, एज इन कि आप सबको अरेंज करेंगे GS2 में, तो जिसके नीचे से 25th नंबर पे है और यहाँ का टॉपर है, वो लगभग सेम मार्क्स लेके आए हैं। तो तुम कितनी भी मेहनत कर लो GS3 में, कितने भी फैक्ट्स याद कर जाओ, मैं GS2 में थोड़ी सी और मेहनत कर लूंगा तो मैं तुमसे ज़्यादा नंबर ले आऊंगा। तो इसलिए मैं GS3 को ऐसे कर लेता था कि अच्छा जितना याद है उतना ठीक है, GS2 में ज़्यादा मेहनत कर लेता हूँ। वन वे ऑफ कंसोलिंग, नॉट ओनली वे ऑफ कंसोलिंग, इट इज़ ऑल्सो ए वेरी स्मार्ट वे ऑफ स्टडिंग, कि ये देखो कि एक्चुअली एग्जाम में वर्क क्या कर रहा है। एवरीबडी सेज ना कि एसे, एथिक्स एंड ऑप्शनल में अच्छे नंबर ले आओ, इन तीन में एवरेज कर लो। तो दिस वाज माय स्ट्रेटेजी कि सिर्फ मैं एसे को सिस्टमेटिक तरीके से करूंगा। आई वुड डू एथिक्स वेरी वेल, I'll do very well in optional, and बाकी थ्री में I'll just get the average marks, और average marks के लिए तो I told you कि क्या करना है, सिर्फ सारे PYQs कर जाने और कुछ facts याद कर लेने हैं। तो keep on making these graphs if they give you some relief. To me they gave. ओके, 50% ऑफ माई प्रिपरेशन वाज यूजिंग AI, क्योंकि मैं कोई कोचिंग नहीं ले रहा था। तो हाउ टू यूज AI, आई टोल्ड वन थिंग कि ऐसे के आइडियाज यूज कर सकते हो। यू नीड टू यू फाइंड आउट आइडियाज दैट यू आर गोना बी राइटिंग इन ऐसे, दोज बॉडी पॉइंट्स, ऑल्सो दोज स्टोरीज, ऑल द PYQ आंसर्स यू डू यूजिंग AI। ठीक है, you can get any coaching's answers, but I think AI, because it summarizes everything that is out there, so it may be more relevant. Collection of facts that I did, those 10, 12 pages of facts that I had memorized, I found using AI. तो FPI पे I had to find out 4 facts. तो अगर वैसे हो गया तो ठीक है, नहीं तो I'll give all the questions to AI and say कि प्लीज भाई मुझे 4 फैक्ट बता दे जो याद करने हैं, जो सब जगह यूज हो जाएंगे। It'll give me 4 facts, I'll use them. And the last and the most important is how to think. Very counterintuitive, you are using AI to think कैसे। तो say I'll take the example of art and culture. आर्ट एंड कल्चर में द क्वेश्चन सीम सो रैंडम, ऐसे लगता है कि हाउ वुड यू बी एबल टू राइट 2 पेजेस ना, कि हाउ डिड द टेम्पल्स ऑफ मेडिवल इंडिया रिफ्लेक्ट द सोशल लाइफ। तो आई थिंक ऑफ ए क्वेश्चन एंड आई गो ब्लैंक कि अब करना क्या है इस क्वेश्चन में, कितना लिख दूं। मेरे को तो 2 टेम्पल याद है उसमें, अच्छा मुझे पता है कि कुछ मूर्तियां बना रखी है, पर मूर्तियों से क्या लिख दूंगा मैं 2 पेज। तो this is when I use AI. तो I gave all the art and culture questions to AI and I told him कि भाई मुझे सोचना नहीं आता, जब कोई सवाल आए और मैं ब्लैंक हो जाता हूँ तो मैं किस वे में सोचूं। तो इट विल टेल मी, तो इट विल कैटेगराइज ऑल दोज टॉपिक्स इनटू पर्टिकुलर थीम्स कि अच्छा मेडाइवल टाइम के टेम्पल्स, देन सम से रिलेशंस, यूरोपियंस के साथ रिलेशंस इंडिया के, एटसेट्रा। then it will tell me कि what each question और each topic comprises of, ना उसके सब डायमेंशंस क्या होते हैं। अच्छा इंडस वैली में इफ यू आर टॉकिंग की ड्रेनेज सिस्टम, तो व्हाट कैन ड्रेनेज सिस्टम टेल अस अबाउट द कंप्लीट इंडस वैली, है ना, कि कुछ हायरार्की रही होगी या नहीं होगी, डिड पीपल कंट्रीब्यूट इन एनी मैनर, ठीक है, इतने सालों तक कंसिस्टेंट कैसे रहा होगा। ठीक है, ये सब चीजें इट विल गिव यू वेरी मेनी पॉइंट्स टू पोंडर अपॉन, कि कोई भी एक टॉपिक आएगा तो उसको मेंटली ब्रेक डाउन कैसे करना है एक फ्रॉम ए जनरलिस्टिक पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, एंड इट विल गिव यू अ आर्टिकल ऑफ 10-12 पेजेस ऑन हाउ टू एक्चुअली थिंक अबाउट एनी टॉपिक। तो जब मुझे समझ नहीं आता था कि इफ आई सी एनी क्वेश्चंस फ्रॉम IR एंड आई गो ब्लैंक, तो हाउ डू आई राइट, how do I generate points? So you can use AI to give you fodder points ki how to think about any topic. So this is how you can use AI. And- Okay, current affairs is not a separate subject. Huh? Whatever you study in polity, whatever has happened recently is current affairs. Huh? There's no separate subject as current affairs. So I did read newspaper. I did read newspaper because बाकी सब पढ़ते थे तो मुझे फोमो होता था, और सुबह पता भी नहीं होता था क्या करना है सुबह उठने के बाद, तो आई वुड जस्ट रीड द न्यूज़पेपर। But it is not necessary. If you do Santosh sir's course, I think he covers everything very extensively and you can just rely on him. But do not read compilation. I'll talk what not to do actually. It does hurt. Welcome. Welcome. Okay. What not to study? I think this is more important than the part of what to study. I told you what to study. कुछ नहीं, सिर्फ PYQ लिख लो हो जाता है ना? अभी क्या नहीं पढ़ना है? Daily commentary on war नहीं पढ़नी है. Every article that comes on budget that criticizes the government or is pro government, and then you are reading one newspaper which is pro government and one which is against government, and then you are taking a balanced view. नहीं करना है. Then you read the editorials which are written by specialist researchers, and you feel like कि हमें तो एक ऐसा पॉइंट आता है जो लिखाएंगे तो हमें तो 10 में से 12 नंबर मिल जाएंगे. नहीं मिलेंगे, 5 ही मिलेंगे. कैसा भी. Then more than one book per topic, unless you think it is really benefiting you. Somebody told me 3 days earlier कि this is their fourth attempt, so this time their strategy is they will study everything. तो आई टोल्ड देम कि नहीं, ये नहीं करना है. यू हैव टू स्टडी वेरी वेरी स्पेसिफिकली एंड उसी को बार बार करना है, बिकॉज अल्टीमेटली यू विल ओनली बी एबल टू डू 20-25 क्वेश्चंस फ्रॉम योर मेमोरी. रेस्ट इज अ गेसिंग गेम, and guessing games becomes good only when you know certain facts by heart and you can eliminate at least one or two options. नोट की अचानक से याद आ जाएगा. आई रेड अ सर्टेन कंपाइलेशंस ना 3 महीने पहले, उसमें एक फैक्ट लिखा था दैट विल सडनली कम इन माय माइंड व्हेन आई एम रीडिंग अ सर्टेन क्वेश्चन. नहीं होगा. ठीक है. Monthly compilations that are 200 pages of densely packed text. You won't remember anything. Just don't read them. Doesn't make sense. Okay, this is my slide. Now I'm open to questions.